Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is episode 49, the Ron Guidry episode presented by Sportszilla. I'm your host, Brandon, and joining me, as always, is my co host, Zachy Spin Kicks. Zach completed the spin kick challenge this week. What?
Sure did.
How long did that take you to pull off? It seemed like you hit it and you were bored with it instantly.
Yeah. At first I was trying it with like a regular water bottle, but I couldn't get it to stay standing. So I was like, you know what? Let me pick a heavier bottle, and it was pretty fucking easy, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, would you say it took maybe 30 minutes out in the garage?
Like 15.
15. Wow. Okay. So maybe the shit that all these guys are doing to look so cool or whatever on these viral videos, maybe it's not such a challenge once you figure out like, okay, I just need to make sure that it's a heavy bottle. And I've seen some of the other videos going around that's like the guy slapping it off with his mullet. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking funny.
People are getting creative with it. Steve-O did it with his dick.
Oh, wow. My wife told me that she watches a lot of pole fitness people on Instagram and all that stuff. And one of those girls did it with one of her tits. So I guess people are doing it with everything. So be original, come up with something new, some new challenge now. This one's played out.
It's kind of cool that Max Holloway started a viral thing.
That is kind of cool that it started with a UFC guy that, is relevant to our podcast because that's one of the things we typically talk about. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's up there with the best lightweights ever.
Yep. It's the Max Spin Kick Challenge. And you did it. And that's awesome. And didn't you call out somebody or whatever?
Yeah. I called out Wallow and Jimmy.
Oh, Wallow from Locker Room Talk
and
Jimmy from Into the Woods.
Yep.
Okay.
And speaking of Wallow, I heard your episode with them. It was a great episode for sure.
It was so much fun. Thanks to them for letting me come on and bullshit with them for about 2 hours.
Yeah, they're a fun little crew. But he called me out on my bullshit, which, to be honest, I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about when I was talking about Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors. So good on Wallow.
Yeah, he did. He was like, I don't know what the fuck game Zach was watching, but everybody was stepping up. He's like, Kyle Lowry did this, Van Vliet did this, and Leonard kind of had a pretty even load.
Yeah. My only rebuttal would be, why didn't they win a championship without Kawhi Leonard?
I don't know. DeRozan wasn't the man that Leonard was to carry them to the finals.
Right. So he was just the final piece or something, maybe.
Yeah, he was the piece that was needed. You know, sometimes like these teams are great, but they just need that one extra thing to click.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox are in that position. I think that they're they're going to have a really good second half. I think they're going to have the best second half in the American League, to be honest. They're probably not going to end up winning the division. The Yankees will probably hold on to that for the remainder, but I think the Red Sox are going to be able to secure a wild card and at least make it to October to have a chance to defend their championship.
Yeah. What makes you think they're going to have the best comeback?
Going into the All-Star break, they were getting hot. After London, they won 5 of 6 games. Before London, they had won, I think it was 8 of 11. So London was the only sour spot in that whole run of about 2 weeks, pretty much the whole month of June, if you really get down to brass tacks. But we tend to harp on the things that suck, like London. That stung really bad. Every time a bullpen pitcher comes out and blows a lead, that makes us mad. But the Red Sox have been really good at coming back late in games and winning those close games. And they're playing good baseball. They're getting hot. All the hitters are getting hot. I think if they make one or two solid moves between now and the trade deadline at the end of the month, I think they're going to have the best record in the American League after the All-Star break, and they're going to go into the playoffs and at least make some noise.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not going to sit here and stand up and say, yeah, they're definitely 100% winning, because I mean, that's impossible to say, but I would go out on a limb and give them a pretty good fucking chance.
Right. Yeah, I could agree with that. I wonder if management is regretting their decision to let Kimbrel slide.
Uh, Not really. I don't think so. He wanted way too much money, more money than they were willing to give him, because you got to think they already have the highest payroll in baseball. They can't sit there and just keep paying guys more and more and more money. They've got a few huge superstars on the horizon that they're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
JD Martinez is going to demand money if he's going to stay there. Mookie Betts would demand money if he were to stay there. I've gone on record to say that Mookie's probably going to be out the door, and JD's the one that we're going to end up sticking with for the long term. I think that's better for the team overall. And recently Martinez said that he wanted to be in Boston. So maybe he will be able to renegotiate and work something out, but I still don't see them keeping JD and keeping Mookie when he's a free agent after next season.
Yeah, makes sense.
In fact, I would probably trade Mookie at the trade deadline next year and at least get something good in return.
Right, instead of just having to send him on his way.
Yeah, because he said that he wants to test free agency and stuff like that, and there's no guarantee that he would come back. Of course, if once he becomes a free agent, the Red Sox could offer him to come back if they traded him away to get a good piece and then offered him a contract to come back and he accepted it. That's perfectly fine. That's how the Yankees kept Aroldis Chapman, basically. They traded him to Chicago to win a World Series and then came right back to the Yankees.
Right.
So that's the way shit works, man.
Yep.
But I think the Red Sox will be fine. Chris Sale, he's, as long as he pitches to Sandy Leone, he does okay. Alex Cora needs to learn that he can't pitch to Christian Vasquez. Cora's trying to keep Vasquez in the lineup because he's got a better bat. That's what I was looking for. I had the numbers written down somewhere. Going into the All-Star break, he's hitting almost 300. So he's hitting the ball well, and he's already hit a career high in homers this year, like 14 or 15 homers. He's mashing the ball. So they want to keep that bat in the lineup. But he can't catch Chris Sale. I don't know what it is. Like, he can't call the right pitches or whatever to get through a Chris Sale outing.
Oh, wow.
Because I'll give you the numbers. With Vasquez, Sale's ERA is 6.68 over 31 innings. To Sandy Leone, it's a 2.96 over 76 innings.
That's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference. So Alex Cora, the manager, needs to fucking figure it out. You need to sacrifice that at bat to save that ERA. Because if Sale's only given up 3 runs, I'm sorry, a 300 hitter with 14 homers and 41 RBIs doesn't equal a 3 runs per game increase in ERA.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
No, that's pretty simple.
But how did your Cards, you had 1 in the All-Star game, right? DeYoung?
Yep.
Did you remember how he did? I didn't really.
Mediocre. He got on base.
Okay, well,
that's about it.
That's cool. Mookie didn't even get in at bat.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So that's kind of wild. I figure for sure with Alex Cora, again, mentioning him on the show once again, him being a fucking manager of the All-Star team, I think that all of his guys would have got in there, but
Yeah, and just like the way that the All-Star game is, you'd think that they'd give everyone a chance. That's what the National League did.
Yeah, they ran through everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe Mookie didn't want to.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe he told AC before the game, like, "Hey, don't put me in. I just want to rest."
Yeah.
Like, because they have had a pretty hellacious journey the past couple weeks from London to Toronto to Detroit to Cleveland for the All-Star game.
Yeah,
They finally got to go home after the All-Star break or after the All-Star game. That's a
lot of traveling.
Yeah, so I wouldn't blame him for wanting to rest a game, not play it. Fuck it.
Yep.
He probably didn't deserve to be there anyway.
Everyone else is getting to rest that's not, in the All-Star game. So
yeah, I know. I've wondered that this year. I was like, I wonder how many of these guys are like, it doesn't really matter that I didn't make the All-Star team because I get to go fucking rest. I get to go
a week to myself.
Yeah, I get to go drink beer with my buds. I get to go hang out with my family. I get to go play with my kids, or I just get to take a vacation and go lay on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's crazy. What'd you think of the All-Star game? You said that last year was your first time getting into baseball, and it was around the All-Star break. Right. So now it's been a full calendar year for you. What'd you think of this All-Star break, and how did it pale in comparison to last year's, I guess?
It was good. This one was good. It's a lot different than I expected. The pitchers on both sides were just lights out, and it was a very interesting thing to see, especially the night after the home run derby. I love the mic'd up players. That was really awesome. They did Yelich and Bellinger at the same time, which was really cool. And they did Freddie Freeman. They did Lindor.
The Freddie Freeman one was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was sitting there talking, and he was talking to the announcers, and he got thrown a nasty, I think it was a curveball.
Yes.
That hit the bottom of the strike zone. And Freddie was like, "Was that a strike, guys?" And they were like, "Yeah, it was a strike." And then Verlander wasted a pitch, and Freddie checked and then yelled at Verlander, "Hey, throw a strike."
Yeah.
And then the very next pitch, Verlander threw that nasty curveball again that hit the very bottom of the strike zone and struck him out looking. Pair of shoes. Fucking A, man.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of action. It was a 4-3 game with like what? 1 homer, 2 homers?
Yeah, I think only 2. It was Chuck Nasty hit 1 and Joey Gatto.
That's right. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it was like you said, the night after the home run derby, and they had record home runs flying out of the park. Now I know that's basically BP tosses that they're throwing and not the best pitchers in the world, but I mean those balls were jumping off their bats at the home run derby.
Yeah, for sure.
It looked like the ball had lead in it during the All-Star game.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. It was also really interesting to hear Verlander's kind of rant about the balls. Did you catch that?
Oh God, did I? Holy hell, calling it a fucking joke.
Yeah, he was upset.
He went into some details there that a lot of people probably didn't even know. I didn't even really know the full magnitude of it. I didn't know that MLB fully acquired Rawlings as a company.
He made that apparent. I'm sure that was knowledge, but
I'm sure
who's going to look that up?
I knew that they had exclusive deals with Rawlings to be the maker of the ball. I didn't know that they owned Rawlings, which apparently they just acquired it last year. But the way that he phrased it was like when a $40 billion industry acquires a $400 million company, people notice or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, boom, like homer. Yeah. And even Tanaka, I don't know if you saw this part of it, but Yankees starting pitcher that was actually the winning pitcher of record in the All-Star game, Masahiro Tanaka, he said that the ball feels different this year too. So kind of backs up Verlander's claim a little bit and kind of makes it like, well, maybe something is going on around here.
Mm-hmm. What's funny about the whole ball juice thing is I love the two different not styles, but the two different theories. The pitchers all think it's way different, and any hitter you ask either doesn't say anything or they don't care. They asked Alex Bregman what he thought, and he was like, "I don't know," blah 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 blah, and he gave the standard, neutral answer. And Bellinger said, "I like them just the way they are," because obviously he's hitting a fuckload of homers and stuff, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's on pace for 400,000 homers this year or whatever.
Yeah, and then if you ask a pitcher, they're like, "Yeah, this is way different." So,
well, I mean, yeah, it impacts the way that they play the game differently. So of course they're gonna, look at it like that. But god damn, it is crazy that there is this whole unraveling going on, and the commissioner Rob Manfred is adamant, saying, "Hey, we didn't change the ball. There's nothing different about the ball or whatever." So,
which is a bullshit lie because we basically proved that on camera.
Well, he admits that the seams are shorter. That's all he said, but he doesn't confirm anything about the
insides
being different or anything like that. So,
gotcha. Well, but I mean, he's not going to anyway.
Like we've already just discussed, just two guys that really don't know much about physics as compared to like these rocket scientists and engineers and shit. But if it's got less resistance, it would have more aerodynamics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one thing that the naysayers of the juice ball theory keeps harping on is that launch angle swings are a big deal, and the way that people swing now is a huge deal. And I think they're right.
I'm sure that has an impact.
I think it's all in one. I think the ball is way different, and I think in conjunction with launch angle and the way that people hit now, like you said on Wallow's podcast, when a guy has two strikes, he's not looking to get on first. He's still swinging for the fences, and that's just how the game is these days.
Yep, that's the mentality now. They don't have guys that go out there and hit the when we were talking about Pete Rose. They don't have guys like Pete Rose. They go out there and try to get hits every day. I think he has some stat that we were talking about where he has, over 4,000 hits. He's the hit king, but he has a very small number of home runs, like 160, I think it was.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that nowadays guys with an 0-2 count are still looking to send the ball to the moon.
Yep.
They're not looking to just get on base anymore.
That's why there's way more strikeouts and way more homers. It all makes sense. But I think it's not one or the other. I think it's definitely a mix of both. Like, there's no doubt that this ball is different. They've said that there's less drag, so that means that it flies through the air better.
Yeah, I mean, saying there's less but not given the other side of the story, that's exactly like what politicians do when they paint their pictures of how the world's going to be in their mind, but they don't tell you how it's going to impact and cut from everything else, Yep. So it's the other side of the coin.
Sure. Another thing that I just thought of today as I was watching ESPN, they did a little story on the netting and everything like that and people getting hit. And I think that the less drag on the ball for sure has something to do with that too, because the ball's flying at you faster than it was 5-10 years ago, and you don't have as much time to react. Even if you are ready for it, it's coming at you faster.
Sure, that makes sense. The pitchers are throwing with increased velocity. Hitters are swinging and hitting with an increased exit velocity
on a ball that has less drag. That's going to fly at excessive speeds. Yep.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Manfred has also stayed out of that conversation too. He's left it up to the owners, I guess, to do their netting or not.
Eventually, it'll be foul pole to foul pole.
Yeah,
it'll be league wide. at least that gives people a chance not to get hurt, but it's going to make getting those souvenirs a lot harder because they're not just going to toss them over the whole netting and stuff like that.
What are they going to do? Launch one, try to get it over the netting?
Right.
Like, they're just not going to even try anymore.
Yeah, because as it is now, every time the bottom or the top of the inning is over and the players are running off the field, 2 or 3 of the guys will catch a ball and toss it up into the stands.
Yep. All the bat boys and all those people that line the foul line there, damn near always
handing them off.
Yep.
Outfielders, if they catch a third out, they'll turn around and chuck it into the stands and stuff like that. They're always giving away balls. But if they've got fencing and netting the whole way, you're not going to be able to do that. You're maybe hand it through somewhere, but
sure. I definitely get the safety aspect. If I had a child, I definitely wouldn't want them to get hit in the head with a foul ball. But either make the decision to sit somewhere else that's safer, or wait till they're old enough to, somehow manage to protect themselves, or protect them as the parent, which I understand that's easier said than done. I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. Honestly, I don't like netting because it sucks to have to see through it, but I can see the other side of it too. I wouldn't want a child to get hit in the head from a foul ball, but I think there's ways to avoid that don't need a net.
Yeah. I mean, I've been taking my son to baseball games since he was 2. He went to opening day last year. He was 2 years old, so,
right.
And we've been to several games since. He's never once been close to being in any danger. I think these kids that are getting hit by balls and stuff, it's fucking unfortunate, but it's like a plane crash. You only hear about the bad ones. How many foul balls, how many everything is hit into the crowd every single game, and it goes by unnoticed. You don't think about it. You don't hear about it because it's just a routine thing. How many flights do you hear about taking off and landing safely? None, because it's what's supposed to fucking happen.
Yep, I agree.
So, I'm with you. I kind of think it's annoying that you would have to sit and like see through the screens,
unless they could make them almost see through, or easier to see through.
Yeah. I've sat behind home plate. I've sat, in several places where the screen was up, and when you're watching the game, it's fine because you don't really notice it because you're looking past it. When it comes into play is when you change your focus to something closer to you on the other side of that netting. And it's like, oh God, I can't even see this guy right now. Like, that's like taking his warm-up swings 15 foot in front of me. I can't see you because of this net, but I can see, Mookie make a diving catch in the outfield.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's pretty fucking annoying to sit behind, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I guess it is what it is. If they're going to make it there for safety reasons, then it's all these owners are going to eventually have to jump on board, or it's going to be like, oh, the White Sox the White Sox were the first ones to do it. Let's see, the Tigers don't give a fuck about their fans. People are going to say shit like that.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
One more note that I wanted to make on the MLB's All-Star game was I thought it was pretty cool that Mike Trout and I can't remember.
I know you're Calhoun.
Was it Calhoun?
Isn't it? I thought it was.
I didn't think so, but whatever. That they both wore Skaggs's number. I thought that was pretty slick. I don't think it was Calhoun. It might have been Calhoun. Whatever. But
yeah, the two Angels players, one being Mike Trout, both wore number 45, which is really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really awesome. Good tribute to their teammate that just died recently. I still never heard an update on that.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either.
It's crazy. I guess an autopsy and the results and all that stuff take a while.
Yeah, I'm sure they most likely release the info to the family, and then they do with it what they want. I doubt
Sure.
that they, put that out to the public or the team or whatever.
It may come out eventually, though.
Mhm.
We may eventually find out. And if we do, we'll talk about it. And if it's anything to talk about, I hope it's not. I hope he didn't have any kind of crazy, like, just addiction that was underlying, or that went unnoticed or unchecked.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it was a freak medical accident and nothing that.
Yeah, like it sucks that you're hoping for that and not something bad,
Yeah.
but you never know.
Right.
I sent you a text earlier that was kind of a teaser text about the minor league all-star game, the Atlantic League, using the robotic ump, basically.
Yeah.
It's called what was it called? Track span or something like that
Mhm.
is what they're calling it. And what it is they actually have a live umpire behind the plate, but he's got a little earbud in that is hooked up to this system. And when the pitch comes in, the thing in his ear says ball or strike.
Yeah.
And then he makes that call accordingly.
It's called TrackMan.
TrackMan. That was close. But so it tells them call ball or strike. But the human ump can overturn it.
Interesting.
So if it's a borderline pitch and the thing says ball, but the ump thinks it was a strike, he can call strike.
That's a pretty good middle ground.
I thought so. I thought it was a good compromise. At least the human element is still there a little bit, even though it makes it a little easier to see. And maybe with all this increased velocity, maybe it is more of a blur for these guys to see these 103-mile-per-hour fastballs all the time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's a lot easier to see a 92-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, and especially from their angle, it's coming right at you. You can't really tell the vertical and horizontal
Right.
as much as you could.
It's almost easier to call balls and strikes from your couch.
Yeah, 100%. I think so. Because you can see, you have a way better point of view, in my opinion. You can see where the ball's going instead of I'm behind a catcher and a hitter and I got a mask on. He's at a big disadvantage.
The catcher definitely has the best view, though.
Yeah, for sure.
He's front row.
Yep.
But yeah, that's crazy though that they're starting to implement that. And the Atlantic League is kind of the guinea pig league for baseball. That's where they're going to try out all their new rules and stuff like that and study and get the analysis and see how it actually impacts the game.
That's cool.
So yeah, they're kind of letting the stat nerds go a little wild with this. And I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's fun. Because I think one way or another, some form of AI is going to come into baseball and either help make calls or make calls themselves. So this is a good compromise.
I think so. I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it quite a bit, and we want the human element, and this keeps that involved. And apparently they did it in the All-Star game, and it was a success. The umps liked it. The players liked it. The coaches liked it. Everybody thought that it was good. So they're going to start implementing it into more and more Atlantic League minor league games throughout the remainder of the season. And I guess they're going to collect that data. So by the end of the year, we should know like what the percentage of balls and strikes missed is compared to other leagues around the country.
Yeah. And what's crazy to think about is with time, this TrackMan or any other kind of AI software like this could potentially be 100% accurate.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Like AI continues to learn and develop and get better. So
it's just creepy, kind of.
It is creepy, but I think it's also kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I think AI is definitely the way that the future is going. Like they're already doing surgeries via AI and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
AI robots that are being controlled from the other side of the country is performing surgeries on people.
Yep. Cars are driving themselves.
Man. Like planes have been flying themselves for a long time.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it, but once they get up in the air, they just kind of set it on cruise control.
Yeah, that's true. No one ever talks about that.
Yeah, that's been going on forever.
Yep.
But again, you only hear about it if it crashes.
Exactly.
And you only hear about a toddler getting hit in the face with a baseball when it happens. You don't
Yep.
hear about the toddler that goes home with a baseball happy.
Right. Dad had a glove and was had
able
his
to
head on a
snag it.
swivel.
Well, I shared that little video on Sportszilla earlier of the old man that had the glove, and that didn't help him out too well.
You also
see
do
that?
have to have fast reflexes.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But did you see that video of the old man?
I have not.
Oh, dude, go on Sportszilla later and look it up. It's an old man at a ball game, and he's reaching out to catch a foul ball.
All right.
It's a pretty good one. It might actually be a home run ball. I think it
Nice.
is, actually, now that I think about it. But the Nest Podcast is brought to you by Wolfpack Raz and Brakes. Wolfpack is our go-to for the best online auctions for hand-signed helmets and authentic sports memorabilia. Wolfpack is a proud American company that is veteran-owned and operated. It only takes one entry for your chance to win great prizes. But wait, our listeners can receive an instant $5 credit by using our promo code NEST5. Are you ready to run with the pack?
I am ready.
You are ready. Man, they've got some good helmets still out there on their break series that they're running right now. They've got did the Lynch get taken? I think the Lynch got taken. They had a Marshawn Lynch on there, and a Patrick Mahomes, but both of those are gone. They've got I know a Jalen Ramsey authentic helmet is still sitting out there. That one's pretty sweet.
Nice.
If I got that one, I'd probably give it to my brother-in-law.
Yeah. I bet he'd love that.
He's a big Jags fan, so
I remember, was it last year or the year before he came over and you guys watched Jags games together?
Oh, that's been ongoing for about 3 years.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, like we haven't missed a Jags game together in about 3 years.
Nice.
They force it on my TV here in Jacksonville, obviously, so I have to see it whenever they're on. And they rarely show Patriot games, especially if the Jags are playing in that time slot. So
make the best of it, at least, right?
Yeah. So we invite my brother-in-law over, and we usually grill out, or the wife fixes up something special, and we have some good food and watch the game.
Yeah, that's fun.
Drink a beer or two.
That's fun.
Yep. So that's one thing that I'm excited for, getting back in the football season. But another thing that I'm very excited about is what we all do together during football season, and that's fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
The past couple of weeks, we've been going down and breaking down our top 5 in each position. We've covered quarterbacks and running backs in the previous 2 weeks, and this week we're moving on to wide receivers. Did you have a chance to prepare your wide receiver list, Zach?
No, but
you fail.
It's pretty straight. Well, is it straightforward? I don't know. There isn't much new shit happening in the world of wide receivers, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, maybe not so much in terms of the elite guys.
I think some people have moved around. Antonio Brown, he's gone to a shit team.
Antonio Brown's not on my top 5.
See, there you go.
So, because of that reason, he goes to a shit team, Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a worse quarterback.
Yep.
I don't think you'll find anybody that says that Derek Carr is better than Big Ben.
No, not a fucking chance.
So I think Antonio Brown this year is a downgrade.
I would
for the
agree.
Wide receivers position,
Yep.
But fucking well, since you didn't prepare it, I'll just kind of go through my list, and you can kind of say like, okay, yeah, that's fair, whatever.
Good. We'll do that.
Slacker. Next week's gonna be fucking tight ends. Start preparing.
Okay. Noted.
And you better not have Gronk on your list.
You better have him on there. He's coming back.
He might be. You never fucking know. He was playing ball with Tom Brady a week ago.
Yeah, he was catching balls, wasn't he?
Yeah.
At his house, or was it somewhere else?
It was at UCLA.
Oh
They,
shit!
they were on the campus of UCLA. All right, so my number 5, I bash him a lot, but I put Julio.
Yeah, yeah. Even if you don't like him for his lack of touchdowns, he still catches
puts
the
up
ball
yards.
and
Yep.
puts up yards, and that's all you. That's not all you need, but that really helps in fantasy football.
And I mean, I kind of had Julio and Antonio right there at the 5-6 position. I ultimately went with Julio because I think Matt Ryan is better than Carr.
Yeah, and I think Julio Jones is better as a better wide receiver than Antonio Brown, just straight off of talent and what he's done.
Yeah, it just sucks for fantasy that he doesn't get touchdowns.
Yeah, true.
And I know I really get on his case whenever Justin's on here because it kind of irks him a little bit because he's a big Falcons fan, but whatever.
You
He's
think
my
Justin
boy.
would have had him at number 1?
Oh, absolutely. And he'd been like, "You guys are crazy for not having Julio at number 1."
I think this
No.
year the offensive coordinator is going to get him the ball. I can just hear it now.
They're gonna win it all this year.
Yep.
No, he's a realist when it comes to fantasy, though. He evaluates people pretty fairly, I think.
He does.
But number 4 on my list, I got Juju
Okay.
Smith-Schuster from the Steelers. I think he replaces Antonio. He's not quite as good as AB, but he's got the quarterback throwing him the ball. Last season, he was spectacular with AB there.
Sure. Yeah.
Logic stands to reason that he's going to excel without him there and do even better. So
Yeah, move into that number 1 wide receiver spot.
Yep. Number 3, Michael Thomas with the Saints. He's one of the best in the game, has one of the best quarterbacks throwing the ball.
Yeah, that's a great pairing.
I expect a huge season in New Orleans. They've got that chip on their shoulder from last year.
Yep.
Fast moving, high flying offense. Number 2, I put Odell. I think that's going to be an exciting thing to watch there in Cleveland. I'm pretty excited to see what that brings. Odell's got hands for days. We saw that he can make Eli Manning look good.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I think he'll have no problem clicking with Baker. And as long as Baker can, keep from having that sophomore slump or whatever, if he has the breakout year like he was starting to show at the end of the rookie season that he had, oh, Lord, they're going to score a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And number 1, I got my man DeAndre Hopkins. He gets the most touches of any wide receiver. He breaks long plays. He scores a lot of touchdowns. He's a target in the red zone.
Yep, he's got sticky hands too.
Sticky hands. Yep,
crazy.
He could be a number 1, number 2 overall pick in the entire draft.
Yeah, I could definitely see top 5. I think people are still going to pick running backs first.
That tends to be a trend a lot. Is to get that workhorse because there were so few running backs that are going to put up the huge numbers consistently.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got a lot of guys that will have big games, but the consistent 20, 25, 30 point backs, only a handful of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good list. I agree. Number 4 guy, Schuster, isn't somebody that's on my radar, but I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the Steelers last year.
Yeah, that's fair. Juju. He owns Pittsburgh now. That's his city now. He's taken over. He's stepped up into that AB role. He's the next big superstar wide receiver that you'll probably hear about.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's see. Switching back to baseball, I did have one more thing. I saw the note on it, but as I started talking football, and I was like, "Fuck!" I meant to talk about that. You and I both really like the movie Bull Durham.
Yes.
In that movie, Crash Davis, the character played by Kevin Costner, becomes the all-time minor league home run king at the end of the movie, and kind of, walks off into the sunset on his own accord, right? Cody Decker became the all-time minor league home run king on a walk-off homer and retired immediately after.
Somebody's a Bull Durham fan.
He played for the Reno Aces. It was they're an affiliate of the Diamondbacks. So Cody Decker, I applaud you, sir.
That's funny. Do you know if he was like
do you
know if he was like a career minor league guy?
He was. He played all of his entire career, however many years it was, like 10 years or whatever, except for I think it said like 28 games that he made it to the show.
That's so funny.
He's a real life Crash Davis.
Yeah. It's wild that there's guys in baseball that stay in the minor leagues and make a career out of it. And I'm sure they make a decent living at it. Fuck, they're playing baseball for a living. It's better than a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as a triple A-er, a veteran triple A-er, he was probably easily making six figures, 120, 150,000.
Mm-hmm. That ain't chump change.
You can live comfortably with that.
Fuck yeah.
Most places, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think the only thing that would really suck about minor leagues is traveling in buses.
Yeah, but at the same time, they probably have pretty sweet buses these days.
Yeah,
it's not true. Like in Bull Durham where it's the old rickety bus, or like in League of Their Own when it's the bus that is terrible and shitty. Yeah, they probably roll in pretty sweet coach buses and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
High school teams roll around in pretty nice chartered buses these days. So what the fuck?
Right. And plus now with all the technology you have, I'm sure you've got iPads, laptops. They've got everything that they could possibly want to entertain themselves with. So yeah, it's probably not too terrible.
I don't feel that bad for them. Their job is to play fucking baseball.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for anyone who plays a sport for a living. Like that's the dream.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, you watched UFC 239 or 239.
Somebody fell asleep.
I fell asleep. Oops.
Shit happens. You've got a kid.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I was laying there and I was like, yeah, I'm excited to watch this. 10 seconds later.
But you did get caught up. So
I did get caught up. I went back and I watched the Jones fight. And I saw the highlights for most of the other fights. That's all you needed to see for them, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But holy shit, Knockout-A-Mania is what this event should have been called.
Man, it was something else.
How many knockouts were there in the whole card? Like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there were a few early on. But the big one, Masvidal.
Damn.
And, they said it officially at 5 seconds. But he was out at 2.
Pretty much.
Ben Askren was out as soon as contact was made. That perfectly timed knee. He knew Askren was going to shoot in on him. Came in.
Called it, man.
The head went down as the knee came up.
That was something else. When I was watching it, I was like, I guess that just happened. I mean, I guess Ben Askren just got knocked out. Okay.
That's the first loss in his career.
Yeah. Insane. And what a smart move. Like, this guy's a super grappler. He's going to go for your legs, throw something at him, and it fucking worked.
Yep. Blueprint right there on how to beat Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Throw something crazy right off the bat. Because if you don't, he's going to get funky on you. But that's crazy. The Lioness is the GOAT.
Yet again. What's funny is through that whole fight, I was texting Adam from the Bearded Ballesta.
Yeah, he's a big MMA fan. God, we should have got him on here for this.
Yeah, he is. And I guess maybe either it was he really thought, or he was just going for the underdog, but he told me that he thought that Holly was going to pull it off. And I was like, maybe by some freak accident, but I doubt it. And yeah, Amanda Nunes did what she does.
Yeah. As she took her apart, knocked her out with her own signature head kick.
I know, that was pretty crazy.
She out kickboxed the kickboxer.
Wild. Has she almost gotten boring with her just demolishes every opponent she faces? Like,
No, because she mimics every opponent she faces. How did
yeah,
she beat Cyborg? She mauled her.
yeah, beat the living shit out of
The
her.
way that Cyborg does everyone else.
Yeah,
How'd she beat Holly Holm? She kickboxed her.
that's crazy.
She did what Holly Holm likes to do. She's the baddest woman on the planet. I saw what's his name? Fucking oh god, what's the guy that beat Demetrius Johnson?
Oh, Henry Cejudo.
Yeah, he said that he wanted to fight her.
I'd love to see it. He'd get his fucking ass whooped.
I think she would take him.
What would they do it at? 135, 145?
Probably. I mean, I'm sure Amanda wouldn't care.
I would bet money that he'd get his ass whooped.
Man, what would that say about what would that say about him, and what would that say about their entire division?
It's almost dead at this point. I don't
That's
think
true.
anyone
That
gives
that
a
would be
fuck.
that if Amanda Nunes kills the men's what is it, 135, 125?
Yeah,
If she
25.
kills the 125 division, that would be phenomenal.
Oh god. Yeah, that's like the fight that decides whether or not the 125 division can stick around is can your champ beat Amanda Nunes? And there's no fucking way.
And this isn't the case where we're sitting here being like, if you can't beat a girl, you can't keep doing it. And like, she's the best we've
Mhm.
ever seen.
Yep.
Like she's not just an average, whatever. Like, we're not saying this insultingly or anything. She will win the fight. She's that good. She's that badass.
Yeah. Crazy.
But seriously, who's left for?
I think a Cyborg rematch is really the only thing that people will tune in for. That's
Yeah.
what I would love to see.
Is that what you were kind of getting at? Is she getting boring?
Well, I think like there's no one left for her to fight that's noteworthy, that's gonna give her any kind of, anything to deal with. No one has anything for her to deal with that she hasn't already dealt with. So anyone that they match her up with would be boring, in my opinion, except for a Cyborg rematch, because I think if Cyborg has a good, healthy, full camp, she's learned lessons on last time. She obviously knows that you can't just fucking stand there and eat her punches. So I think a well-trained, healthy Cyborg might do something a little more than she did last time. Not saying that she could beat her, but it would be a way better fight.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a fight that it would definitely be worth seeing.
Yeah.
If she's going to run it back with anybody, that's the one to run it back with.
Right. And I think I would want to see them both back at 145, because I think that's a way more interesting division for women, because I don't know if you know anything about women's MMA, but weight cutting for women in particular is way harder than men. I think it's something in their thyroid or something like that. It slows down their ability to cut weight the more that they do it, and it becomes harder and harder as they do it more and more times.
I think a woman's body naturally has more water.
Yeah.
So that makes it even harder.
Yeah.
Water weight.
Right.
So yeah, it sucks, but I think 145 is more interesting. It does make it a little bit more competitive. And the women that fight in that weight class, they look natural. That's how they should look,
Yeah, I agree.
Seeing like Jessica I get down to 135, 125, whatever, that would be. And Kat Zingano, imagine her trying to cut that much.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yep. I don't like weight cutting in the first place. I think you should just fight at, maybe 10 pounds or 5 pounds below your walking weight, because that's how much you weigh. Because when you fight, you're not 155. You cut all the way down to 155 and depleted yourself almost to the brink of death. And then you have a whole 24 hours or more to rehydrate and everything.
UFC does their weigh-ins the night before, so you have a whole 24 hours to rehydrate, get everything back up to your natural weight.
Yeah, I just think it's an old thing that comes from boxing days, and it's just something that has stuck around that is really pointless at this point because you fight at whatever your natural weight is or close to it anyway.
And I think we're seeing more and more of that go away, where guys are more comfortable in their natural weight classes. Why do you think DC wanted to go up to heavyweight when he could? It was more natural for him. The cut wasn't as tough. He didn't have to fight John Jones. There's a litany of reasons why people would want to do that. I think it's smart.
Yeah. I can also see why someone wouldn't want to go up too far in weight. I mean, look at Luke Rockhold. Did you catch those highlights?
Oh, he got murked.
He got destroyed. Yeah. So and I would assume that a 205 weight class is a lot more in tune with his walk around weight. But that's because I think one of the reasons he got tuned up so bad is because the guys cutting down to 205 are way bigger than that. So it's a huge difference. If you can cut down to 185, that probably means you're around 200 or maybe more. And the guys that can cut down to 205 are, 225 or whatever they might be. So when those two come together on fight day, they're way different weights.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. What did you think of the Jones fight?
It was scary, to be honest. As a Jones fan, I was afraid he was not going to get that decision. And I was going into the after the final round, I was like, well, John might not get the belt, and I wouldn't be mad about it because he barely did anything.
Yeah, it almost to me looked like he was trying not to lose.
Yes, 100%.
He wasn't trying to win.
Defensive.
Right. He wasn't trying to win the fight. He was just trying not to lose. And that made for kind of a boring fight from Jones's point of view. But give credit where credit is due. Fucking Santos was hopping around on one leg. Holy shit.
Yeah. And Rogan called it almost immediately. Like, oh, there's something wrong with his knee there. And you could see it vividly multiple times. It buckled real hard. And he could barely put any weight on it, and he couldn't pivot on it or anything.
Did you hear the severity of all the injuries?
It was like everything in his knee, MCL, ACL,
PCL,
whatever else there
meniscus.
is in there.
Yeah, everything gone.
Yeah, just blown the fuck out. And I bet you he had a lingering issue from training camp, and he just dealt with it.
Probably,
which is fucking insane. I mean, he went 5 rounds with the baddest man on the planet. And
hung with him and
give him a run for his money.
Many people think he won.
Yeah, gave him a run for his money. Huge run.
The only real bad part about all of this is that he is so injured that it's going to be a long road back.
Yeah, at least a year.
This is the fight that you want to see them run it back.
100%.
You want to see a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
And if Santos comes back healthy and beats Jones, then holy fuck, that you would have to have the trilogy. But
yep.
But man,
did you see John after the fight?
He got carried out too.
He couldn't fucking walk because of the leg kicks he took. Who has ever done anything like that to John?
Nobody. That was the first time that John Jones had ever lost on anyone's scorecards.
That's wild.
That's the first time that John Jones has gotten beat like that. Yeah. It was crazy to see.
It was.
But I mean, it goes to show everybody's got somebody that can hang with them. You're never going to go and just wipe the floor with anybody. I didn't give Santos much of a chance. I discredited him weeks ago when I was like, what does he have to do? Beat the top 10? He's already going to wipe out the top 5.
Right.
He had a hard time wiping out number 5.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
In losing, I think he should move up in the light heavyweight ranks.
100%. Yeah, for sure. He should be what? Number 2, number 1. I mean,
well, first off, I think DC should be dropped off of that list.
Yeah, if he's not fighting it,
he's not going to fight 205. He's the champ at heavyweight. Just get rid of him on that list
I
for
agree.
one. And then I don't know, Santos, what, 2 or 3?
I mean, who has ever done anything like that to John Jones? Gustafson sure as fuck hasn't, and
Nope.
he's had two chances.
shots.
Yep.
He's definitely behind.
No one else has done anything, especially this past year that John has been so active.
Yeah, you're
A
right.
bunch of people have had a chance and not done anything, which I totally understand because John's a freak. But if this guy can do that on a blown out knee, he has to have some credit for that.
Yeah, I just hope that he can come back from surgery and still be that dominant.
Yeah. He also looked like a fucking monster at 205.
Yeah, he did. Holy shit.
Gigantic.
That maybe that's what he needed. Maybe that's why he was ranked so low, coming in, as nobody knew.
Yep.
But he's gonna skyrocket to the top. Anyway, that's all I got, man. You got anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. I guess the next big UFC fight is the DC Stipe fight.
Yeah, DC Stipe 2.
Yeah, and then after that, Khabib and Dustin Poirier.
Connor's promising to be in the building for that.
I hope he is.
So watch out for fireworks.
Yeah.
Speaking of fireworks, we're going to see the Jumbo Shrimp tomorrow night.
That'll
Friday
be fun.
night. Yeah.
Nice.
They do a family firework night every Friday or whatever they call it or whatever. And hell, Grayson loves baseball and fireworks, so take the boy to see it.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. We've got our 1 year coming up in 3 weeks at this point. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yes, sir.
Oh God. If you haven't yet, go out and sign up for the little contest that we're running. Pretty good odds of winning. We've got a lot of good prizes, a lot of cool prizes, and a lot of you are going to get some cool shit. I'm wearing the old school Nest Podcast t-shirt for our YouTube listeners. They can see that, but the new version right here is
that one looks sick as fuck.
Is what's going to be given to winners. And then we also have the Sportszilla t-shirt from Jared and all that good stuff. So we've got all kinds of clothing and accessories and autographed baseballs and all kinds of cool shit coming your way. Just go sign up, join Sportszilla, sign up in the post in there. Odds are pretty good that you might walk away with some cool shit.
Yeah. And Sportszilla is a good chance for people to jump in on this kind of conversation. I know it kind of lit up when John almost lost, and we all kind of threw our 2 cents into what we thought about that. If you like this stuff and if you have theories and thoughts of your own, Sportszilla is the place for you. It's the place to hear people's thoughts and to share your own. It's a really awesome little community.
Yeah, I really dig it. I like talking to all you guys about sports.
It's a great mix of funny stuff and then people's, theories and
serious opinions and thoughts on sports. Yeah, like I like that too. It's because it's got like a little Barstool feel where it's like, hey, the jackass fun stuff, but then it's also got your true like hardcore sports fan.
Right.
And it's awesome. It's a good mix, a good vibe. So go out there, join Sportszilla, join into the drawing, and we'll be giving away some shit in 3 weeks.
Sounds good. We will be back here next week.
Peace.